Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz have announced that they're going to do their first sit-down interview with CNN's Dana Bash, taking place on Thursday. A lot of media folks have been whining and complaining, oh my God, they're not doing any interviews, they're not doing any news conferences. And Mustafa, they've been whining, saying, we don't know what her policies are. Actually, we do. They kind of talk about them in speeches. They've talked about them at the convention. So I'm sort of confused by these people who are so clueless that they say, we don't know what her policies are. Are you deaf, dumb, and blind?
They're just being disingenuous is what they're doing. I mean, there's no way not to know at least probably 80% of what her policies are. There may be additional things that she will share after she's had the opportunity to think more critically about them, and she's conversation with advisors that she has a part of her committee. But Vice President Harris is a brilliant politician. She is a brilliant strategist, and I'm sure that she will have policies that resonate with the vast majority of Americans. You know, we just continue to see this game, and we'll see it for the next couple of months, you know, where the media continues to take these jabs at her, but they don't have the same level of concern when it comes to former President Trump. So, you know, we know that there's disproportionality in the way that they approach things. We know that there is the second set of ways that they put more pressure on her than they do on the other candidate. But I'm looking forward to hear what she has to share. And then folks will be able to make their decisions based upon that, if they want to continue to give consideration to her or to one of the other candidates.
Nola?
You know, I'm so happy we're talking about this because I see this as part of the larger conversation around the campaign using content creators at DNC. And I know many of them, you know, they are wonderful. The way that they deliver information to the American population is a way that I definitely can't do it, you know, a way that a lot of people in legacy media cannot do it. And I think some of this is that, you know, even with the Tulsi Gabbards and Nikki Haley's of the world, some of this we are seeing is just hating on VP, period. You know, they're hating on her non-traditional way of actually communicating with everyday regular Americans, right? It's not those of us who are glued to MSNBC all day. That is not necessarily the audience that policies are being communicated to. You know, the way that some of the content creators, the way that they talk about VP's policies are in a very relatable way. Her economic policies, her domestic policies, you know, what she's trying to do in the housing industry to equalize it. These are, in fact, policies, right? Do we know, you know, like Mustafa said, do we know the entirety of her policy portfolios regarding foreign policy and everything else? We don't know everything yet. We are still 70 days out, right? And we literally just got here yesterday. So, you know, all of this definitely will take time to cultivate. And I know for a fact that VP has a lot of smart people around her that are working on these things every single day. But none of this is as it seems. It's all a smokescreen. Number one, it's about not communicating in the traditional sense. Number two, keeping in line with that, using content creators to deliver her policies and her messages, you know, bucking traditional media. And then also she's pretty fly. Let's just keep that a buck. They're upset about that. All of it. And, you know, that's how I see a lot of these women out here who are hating on her for absolutely no reason. They just bother her. She bothers them when she wakes up and breathes in the morning. So that's just going to be there, unfortunately. But this is some of this is hate. Some of this is jealousy. It are lies. And they are really afraid of this woman.
Larry?
Yeah, this is, you know, like I said, I mentioned earlier in terms of a shell game. You know, it's gonna, if it's not this, it's gonna be another issue. But, you know, I'm glad she's gonna finally do an interview with Dana Bash because I'm sick and tired of hearing. And hopefully, Roland, I know you tweeted about this. You're next on the list to ask some questions that impact the Black community.
I damn sure hope so.
Listen, we calling it out. If our folks are watching right now, you need to come on Black Star Network and talk to Roland so you can ask some of the questions that people want answers to. So let's get it out there. But just overall, Roland, you know, this fascination with her doing interviews. Like, she's been VP for 4 years. Prior to that, she was U.S. Senator. It's not like she doesn't sit down for interviews or doesn't discuss important policy issues. Once again, it's just smoke and mirrors. And I agree with Nola. There's a lot of hate and animosity based on some of these content creators getting access.
Exactly. Well, first of all, I think it's stupid. All of these people, who were complaining at the convention, they were complaining about the amenities and all this sort of stuff. Man, let me tell you something, okay? We paid for our space. We paid for the internet. If y'all wanted some snacks, bring your own damn snacks in. I did. I brought my own damn water, brought my own damn snacks. I didn't expect anybody to have some seat warmers for us and all this sort of stuff. I just can't stand on these old whiny ass media people, from a lot of these other places who, we got treated so much better at the Republican convention than the Democrat convention. And we didn't like our seats and we were too high up and we couldn't go onto the floor. Oh my gosh, shut the hell up. I mean, just the constant whining is utterly ridiculous. These people actually drive me crazy with all of this crap, as opposed to, do your jobs. And also, let's be clear, it ain't like you're getting a lot of news at a political convention. Okay? You're not. It's not happening. So I just got tired of all this sort of stuff, and we're living in a totally different world, Mustafa. The fact of the matter is there are individuals who are on TikTok, who are on Instagram, who have more influence than the rest of these people. Listen, that was a story the other day. I got a kick out of this. A Mediaite did this story, and they were talking about what's that silly ass child? Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly did 116 million views on YouTube, and she did more views than NBC and CBS. And then the guys at Midas Touch were like, all right, that's nice, but we did 350 million views last month. And so I hit Mediaite. I said, hell, y'all should say your story should be Midas Touch does 3 times as many views than Megyn Kelly. If a Midas Touch can do 350 million views in a month, then guess what? That's what you do. All of these other media outlets, they're mad, upset because the game has changed. And look, listen, YouTube sent us. So last week when we were in Chicago, I met with our YouTube representative at the Google office. This is what he told me. He said, Mustafa, out of all of the progressive groups, he said, you guys do more views. He said more views than the other progressive groups. He said your average watch time per viewer is higher than all of the progressive groups in your category, including Young Turks, including all the rest of these shows. Some of them, they get more views, but average watch time per viewer, we're higher than all the rest of them. That's the difference world we're living in. And so that CNN, MSNBC, and others can't say.
Yeah, and I really appreciate how Nola laid this out, because I think she actually was taking us in the right direction. With evolution, either you can adapt or you become extinct. And we find a lot of the reporters and these commentators, they utilize a technique and a way that's from like the 90s. So folks want flavor. And if you can give them flavor and you can give them information that helps them to see themselves represented, and helps them to have an understanding of why their vote matters and how it can help to make change, or if they should be calling somebody out, then that's what people are looking for. And they're looking for it in new platforms as well. They want stuff at their fingertips. They want to be able to get information, think about it, and then go deeper in other places. But unfortunately, sort of the traditional mainstream media has not yet caught up with what folks are asking for, and then they get frustrated. And when they get frustrated, then you see some of the things that we've been talking about today, where they kind of, just do things that you're just like, wow, really? Where were you trained? And who actually were your mentors and guides, and how you engage with folks, and how you have honesty and authenticity in the information that you share. So I applaud all these new content creators who are doing it authentically, and who are reaching a whole new generation and helping them to think critically about what do they want for the future, who are the leaders that they want for the future, and how they play a role in helping to make that happen.
You know, and it's crazy. It's just nuts. And all they do is complain about it, but it's a new day. You have to reach new audiences in a different way, Nola.
Absolutely. I mean, evolve or die. It's that simple, right? And it's not, you know, this is the same sort of argument with digital media. Remember when real journalists were up in arms at journalists who would, you know, pump out stories very quickly for online, for people that wanted to get their news quickly online. They evolved there. So for me, it seems like someone should be saying, wait a minute, there's an opportunity here. Like a lot of these kind of streaming platforms did not do well for some of these legacy media networks. Maybe if they had a Kenny, if they had a Condi, maybe people would have tuned in on some of those platforms because they're being talked to the way that people talk to each other at home. I mean, the way that I express myself here is definitely not the same way I express myself with friends. You know, it's just a different type of conversation. But people want that realness. People are tired of the kind of stale, robotic way of communicating information. This is the last thing I'll say, and I'm still upset about this. I had a media hit when Tim Walz was announced for VP. I got dinged for being too happy. Excuse me? When all I do is talk about death and war and conflict, and the one day I show up having a little bit more energy, have a smile on my face, it's a big to-do in the, you know, in all the conversations with producers and stuff like that. That bothered me to my core. So when I see my friends in Chicago and the content creators doing their thing, and let's keep this a buck, that is a hustle. They hustled for those interviews. Right? It's their own creativity. There isn't a team around them helping to put packages together, to help them put shows and ideas together. This is coming from them. So they are a threat. And I understand why they are a threat, because they are creative. People are watching them and they're tuned into them. And VP understood that. And that is one of the reasons why legacy media is coming for her.
Yeah, and they hate the fact. Look, if she does an interview with me, Larry, they'll be like, oh my God, how dare you? They want to be the gatekeepers. So they don't want her talking to black radio. They don't want them talking to bloggers. They don't want them talk. And here's what's so funny. Ezra Klein used to be a blogger. Oh, so now all of a sudden he works for the New York Times. Oh, now he's great and wonderful. And so these are the games they play. They want to control everything. They want to be the ones. And guess what? Their influence is not what it used to be. It's just not. CNN's ratings are at lows they haven't seen since the early 1990s. Sorry, that ain't my fault.
A popular New Orleans saying.
Larry, go ahead.
Yeah. So Roland, these, you know, you talking about legacy media, you know, platforms. They're about to become the new Blockbuster. So if they don't get it together, listen. You know, it's one thing about capitalism is it eats its own. So if like I said, Nola said, if you don't adapt, you adapt and die. So what's happening is we're seeing and I think COVID helped accelerate this. We've seen a transformation in how we communicate. And so these platforms, and I know some of them have tried these other smaller projects to try to get people engaged. It's not working. And I think, Roland, why your platform is successful and you are, is that it's organic and authentic. So the way you engage with people on social media and the way we engage, we have conversations here, this is all authentic. And so a lot of what you see on legacy media is this very stern, as Nola said, it has to be a certain way and segmented a certain way. And people just don't live their lives like that anymore. Kids want to be entertained and they want authenticity. And you're not getting that anymore. And because strictly a lot of these platforms owned by these large corporations. But what you hear on Black Star Network on this show, you get authenticity and you get people who keep it 100 while giving you honesty and truth.
Well, they also don't want to be bored to death. And again, to show y'all how things are different, go to my iPad. YouTube sent me this. Remember, they told us that out of all those other progressive sites, we have the highest average view duration out of all of them. This is what the view duration was during the convention. We normally average 9 minutes and 45 seconds. During the convention, it was almost 21 minutes. That's the difference between folk who understand how to engage with their audience and these other people. When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.